We're back again with another episode of everybody's favorite show, Street Scene Power Hour. I'm Craig Broden, and we have our co-host here, John Lesaganich. We welcome him back, and there's somebody missing here, but that's Rick Guerrero. He couldn't make it for this show because he's out doing family things, which is more important than anything. So it
is.
Yeah, but you know what? We're not going to miss him too much on this show. I hate to say it because this is all about Volkswagen. So, so Rick's the outsider in that. And we keep reminding Rick that he is the outsider on Volkswagens, even though we're going to welcome our guest, James Sopher. And James Sopher, if you've been watching our shows and our podcasts, is with the bug infestation in Geneva. And that's why we're here today. But we want to welcome. Thanks for coming, James. What we want to do, we're going to touch on a few things real quick here. John, in your world, now that you just mentioned that you are bugless. So how does that feel?
I don't like it. Here's what's going on. I always have a bug in the back garage. I had the Gias back there. I had the bugs. I had the 60 bugs. I had the Super Beetles. Fix, drive, enjoy, flip. That's what I'm known for, is flipping these cars. Rich Sidoris, my VW guy, lives right down the street from me. So I'm in the middle of, I have a mid 60s I'm looking at this week. That I may purchase it. And how about this? The individual described it as, this is really bad. It needs a little TLC.
Wait a minute, is it blue?
I don't know what color it is. I got to find that.
Okay,
I don't know. But look, hey, and James, you'll understand this. I've towed them home where I've had the doors roped up, tied shut, and fixed. So TLC is okay to me. I also, and I want to bring it up, and I can't share much on this. I've been asked to possibly broker a VW, an automatic VW, auto shift.
Wow.
And this thing, it's an estate. It's a death in the family. The owners are out. Anyway, I've been asked to possibly broker it. I'm going to see how that works out. This car is the history on it. It still has the original stickers on the side door panel from the original oil changes. This is a beauty. I'm going to tell you what. I know a lot of people don't like the auto stick. Yeah, Greg, you and I know that. You show me something different or something that people don't really like, I want it.
Yeah,
that's just that's the type of guy I am. So I'm Beetleless, but in the works of looking at some dubs. Been up this show. We'll talk about it a number of times. And since Rick is missing, and Greg, you know this, when Rick is missing and I get to do the shows where we record, first thing I look for is a Beetle.
And I'm all for it because with Rick going along, I have to. He shies away from it because that's just not his thing. I get it. Yeah. If you've known Rick for the last 16 years of me and Rick, we are total opposite ends of what we like. So other than a little bit of crossover in the muscle car era. So So that works good. So John kind of, I hate to say John sides with me a little bit more than Rick, but that's okay.
I do. We look. We love the dubs, the Beatles. We introduced the 4-door as classics.
Thank you.
Which a lot of people don't. So again, you show me a what we often refer to as an orphan car. Back in the days, they weren't really like. Man, I'm like a magnet to those things. Yeah. I want that in my back garage. I once had a T-shirt, and I used to go to car shows and almost get in fights, and it said anybody can own a Camaro.
Oh God! Well, at least he didn't say anybody can own a Corvette because you're the Corvette fan, and me, I'm not.
Yeah, and I have a Corvette, James. So I go from one extreme to the other. So But anyway, that's what's going on with me. Looking at one, possibly going to broker one. I'd love to buy this one. I'm going to broker, but I don't have the cash buried in the backyard right now. So
well, if it's a mid 60s Beetle, as we all know, those things are through the roof now. I mean, you get into when they changed over in the 68. model year is when they start, those will come up at some point, but there were so many of them, and the people junked the 60s ones. So,
And you know what you're seeing a lot now? You're seeing a lot of the, you'll see a VW Beetle and it'll say like, 1989.
yeah.
1990. They're coming in from Mexico.
Yeah, they're shipping them in now because they're not here. Everybody now, the story is with, if you don't know this, and it's with not just only Beetles, it's with all the classic cars. They're selling them at Barrett Jackson, even online or anything like that. They're getting shipped overseas because people want them overseas. So they're getting kind of swindled out of us. So now what we're doing, we're shipping Beetles in from Mexico that they're in abundance down there and restoring them here. So, it works both ways. And you know what? I'm fine. Go ship them away. Mine go up in value. I'm fine with that.
Well, you, Greg, and James, I had a beautiful Ford Maverick. It was a police interceptor. It had the, it was like an old police car, but it was really nice. And some guy seen it on Google, wasn't for sale. That is now in Brazil.
Jeez. No kidding.
Yeah, it's in Brazil. So they're getting shipped all over. But anyway, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm all about. And I'm looking forward to having this show and asking James some questions and bragging about the show up at Geneva.
Well, we're going to touch on that in a minute. Because, everybody knows I have two bugs. I've got a 61 and a 65 Herbie the Love Bug replica. So I've had those for a long time. Well, the red one I've had for it's been about 9 years now. But the Herbie the Love Bug replica, I restored it in 98. So I've had it forever. I'm just the opposite of John. I keep my stuff. I just can't get rid of it. I mean, I tell my wife, well, I've kind of hooked her into this too. Now she keeps everything. But I said, when I retire, they're going to go. So they're going to be worth money then. At least I hope so. That's my retirement because I'll never retire. I don't have enough money. So, but we want to welcome back James Sopher. He is the organizer and the big man in charge of the bug infestation in Geneva. And this show, let me tell you, I honestly didn't know anything about it. And I forget who turned me on to it. And I contacted James to be on a podcast. And then we went up there and I was blown away because if you want a perfect setting for a car show, James has found the perfect setting because if you've been to Geneva, you know how fun it is. If you've been by the Lake Erie, it's right on the lake. So, I mean, you can't get any better than that. So, James, tell us about the show this year, that what's coming up, what people can see, and we want them to go up.
Well, I'll tell you this. Let me correct one thing. I'm a part of a team. So I'm literally Ready Speed Shop, and we do like car show promotions and event promotions. And I actually got together with a group before this to do like Dubs in Geneva. And then it transitioned into Bug Infestation with the Some Bugs Worldwide Headquarters Volkswagen Club that's right there local in Geneva. I'm partnering with the park and a few other clubs and a few other people who were able to pull off the show because, no man's an island. No man can do this by himself.
Exactly.
I'm just like a wheel, like a cog in the wheel, in the big wheel. And I'm happy to be a part of it. As I like to have fun with it. I like to enjoy the process. So the big deal is we've always had a vision to turn Geneva on the lake the last weekend of the year. I wanted to become the Sturgis of Volkswagens. Like I'd like to go up there and see nothing but Volkswagens of all ages, all, sizes. Hear the little pea shooter mufflers going boo, 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 boo.
Yeah.
Like I just swamped. And really, because of that idea, that's how Bug Infestation came about. Because really, it's two shows in one. Like you can go to a car show and enjoy yourself and sit by the lake and listen to the music and go to a swap meet. But when you're sick of us, you could literally walk down the street, less than a block, and enjoy the whole strip. I mean, literally, it's kind of like getting a cheat code for two shows in one. Like you could just enjoy, the breweries, the little shops, and the community over the last, 7 or 8 years has really embraced us. Like they've really thrown up the welcome mat. Doors have opened, more sponsors. It's really become a community thing. The last weekend, which is really the close of the strip, Labor Day weekend. The next weekend is Thunder on the Strip, which really, shuts down the place. But still a magnificent time. It's about, getting the Volkswagen community together, great setting, take a picture of your beautiful vehicle by the lake, and really just fellowship and hang out, and hopefully get some good parts deals, because the swap meet is getting bigger.
Yeah. Well, again, the good OEM parts for Beetles are getting really tough to find. So, and if you want a good deal, if you don't want to pay the prices they're charging up the swap meet, you can find anything there. So,
let me make a comment on Geneva on the Lake, and why this show is so great, because of not only Greg, you're in my love for VWs, and you see all types up there. And when I went to the show, at one time I took a 65 up there. One time I took a 72 Super Beetle. I took a Gia up there. You'll see the VW Things. You'll see the Volksrad.
Yes.
And I've seen newer Volkswagens up there, the turbos, I think in the 2000, and I even brought, at one time, I thought about this, I brought the picnic basket VW up there, the Cabriolet, before it was the Rabbit after that. I even brought one of those up there, which was cool. So everyone is accepted in the VW scene. And again, let me go back. My younger days growing up on the west side of Youngstown, I spent my summers Geneva on the Lake. And what's cool, it was, look, and then we had a boat up at Geneva Marina for 18 years. But what's cool about Geneva on the Lake is, when I was up there in the 60s, it's the same. It is so cool. I mean, it's a retro, man. It looks the same.
They've added on a back walkway and how should I call it? Like a boardwalk in the very back.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Walk down to the water.
Oh,
yeah.
You could even take a wheelchair down there.
Now, if they could get just a little bit wider, we could take the bugs down there and take pictures. You just put a loop there.
Like Huntington Beach, yeah.
So, but let me just add this little piece of information to you.
Okay.
There is another brand of car that you welcome at this show. Not only VWs. Am I right?
Is it a German car?
Yes, it is.
As long as it's German, we're not really particular, because it's all German car show. Like, if it's a German car, BMW, Audi,
there you go,
Porsche, you name it, we're into them, because we all grew up eating off that same table and fixing on those same cars. And when you could afford better, you bought better. And it's always like your friends, got into it, and we're getting into a multi-generational tier. Okay, like, what I'm super impressed about is seeing all of these the early Rabbit owners.
Oh God, I love those. I grew up with those Rabbits. Those were everywhere when I was in the 80s growing up.
Oh, like, I went through nursing school in the Jetta. I bought an 84 Jetta. It was white, painted it blue with a rattle can, like an idiot. But proof, me and my friend would be driving to school, and when you turn, the wheel would rub. So you're like, it's the best ever. So seeing the water cooled, seeing the high-end Porsches pop in, the Audis, it's just, if it's a German car, we're a fan. Like, we're totally a fan all years. Like, even the new Beetles. Like, you remember when the first Beetle came out?
98.
98. It came out, it was like
huge.
They changed it in like 2012, 13, like real aggressive, cool Beetle, and they stopped.
Yeah.
And those are like killer. Like, those are so killer. It's not even funny. Still drive, still rolling, convertible.
As I was I almost bought a brand new 98 Beetle when they came out. I was so excited when they came out. And then I end up buying something else. But, when they changed that body style to make it more aggressive, oh my God. I mean, I liked them, but they're girly cars, you kind of.
The first one was a girl car. The first one was a bar.
They knocked it out of the park.
Yeah. Aggressive, smooth, but they couldn't continue with it because they didn't see the future of it.
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, you have to have a vision for what you're about to be. And Volkswagen has always been progressive. We know that they own several other brands, high-end brands. So it's not their main focus, is a focus on the vintage. And, they've been supportive. They've been, pushing the brand, even really kind of capitalizing on the vintage market as far as like reissuing like cups and shirts and all sorts of stuff. Like the Volkswagen dealerships nearby us, I think we missed it by not talking to them about getting a basket. But, we're so close to the finish line. It's kind of silly to ask now, but they've always like given us something to give away.
Yeah.
And been totally supportive. But this year has been a whirlwind. It's been one cool thing after another, seeking out new partners and new vendors and new people to reach, of all ages, because we want it to be a family event. We want this to be one day that you remember and have fun. The only thing that hinder us really is weather. And even then we've had like a minor shower and we've still kicked it through.
Yeah.
I shared this on the podcast many times, and I get yelled at for this, but if I go to a car show and I take an American Muscle or my Corvette to a car show, and they're all great and car people are great, but I'm just going to identify the difference between some car groups and others.
Yeah.
So I'll go to a muscle car show and I'll take the vet, and you'll see people walking around, and I'll walk by a Chevelle with the hood up and I'll hear the guys talking, and they'll be pointing out what's wrong, what the guy did wrong about that Chevelle. He shouldn't have did this. He shouldn't have did that. And, you go to the VW show, I don't care what you did to your bug. I don't care how you changed your bug. People like it, and they'll just comment. I've seen people jacking up, working on other bugs. Everybody will come there with a toolbox.
Yeah. You have to.
It's a tight-knit group. But let me tell you the story and before the Rabbit, the Cabriolet was that's what it was titled as, that one I picked up, right? It wasn't a Rabbit, the picnic basket one that had the...
the Cabriolet.
Yes.
It's a Rabbit. Yeah. It's just a later.
Right. When I sold a 72 Super Beetle, and I'm driving home deep into Pennsylvania with cash in my pocket and an empty trailer, which is really a bad thing for a car.
No, you're going to back roads looking for something after that.
Well, that's where I found the Cabriolet, and the roof was down, and it was red with white interior. And I never seen one. I didn't know what it was all about.
Oh.
And I talked the guy out, and he signed the title. He said, I said, don't know, I'll take care of all that. Gave him the cash and brought it home. That car, here's what I remember. First, it was a blast to drive, and it's a chick car. It's a that's stick. I can chirp almost in every gear of those tires. The torque on that was so tight, it was unbelievable. And what a blast to drive. That's when I really started appreciating all VWs, as you mentioned, James, everyone. And I really, like you, Greg, I've still been looking at some of the 98 and older ones. That one turbo they came out with, I don't know what, but kind of a classy looking car.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you want one? It's sitting in my backyard. I have a 2001.
The 2.0.
It's a 1.8 turbo. It was my daughter's car. She blew up the motor, and she's like, oh my God, she loved that car. It was her first car. We bought it for her. She blew the motor up, and it's been sitting in my backyard for 2 years. She goes, she's in college now. She goes, I want to get it fixed. So if anybody's listening, please don't tell my daughter that I am going to fix the motor and clean the car back up for her graduation from college. She will freak out.
What color is it? What color is it?
It's cyber green. So
I love that. I love that.
It's cyber green, and she has. I'll throw a picture in this podcast on post production when she got it, but we fixed it all up for her. It's got the spoiler on the back. It's got graphics, and anyway, I just had to go off on that tangent because it was when it ran. Again, it didn't run good for too long, but when it ran good, you were chirping tires and gears. It was just unbelievable. That's a blast.
And James, you have to agree. When some people go to a car show, they'll look and they'll not readily know whether it's a Mopar or a Plymouth or some people just like to go to car shows. You drive a VW Beetle.
Yes.
Everybody recognizes a VW Beetle.
Yes. And has a story.
I was actually going to put on the side of mine. I was going to put on there, I know you had one. Because everybody used to come up to me.
I had one of these.
I had one. I know. Everybody had one. And also, if I would go up to like a local store with the VW, the 65 I had, people would want to take pictures with. I could be at Sparkles Market, and people say, "Hey, you mind if we take a photo?"
Yes.
Go right ahead. So again, James, I can't commend you for putting this show together. What do we got? Anything different at the show this year? Anything?
You know what? I would be lying to say something different, because we're about, getting people in, getting them registered. We're going to have like a top 24. We're going to have some special awards. Nothing really crazy. I mean, really, it's a car show. We're going to have music. We're going to have barbecue. We're going to have popcorn, fair food. But it's just basically a hang, like music, hangout. And I'm kind of encouraging people to show up and disappear and go venture out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, let's get a date for this, because it's coming up pretty quick. This is why we wanted to do a special episode of the show, to get this date so we get people up there.
I appreciate it. It is August 31st, Saturday, Labor Day weekend. It's held at the same time every year at Geneva Township Park at the end of the strip, end of the famous Geneva on the Lake Strip, Township Park. Just come and hang. We're here to see cars, see friends, pick up a T-shirt, pick up some swag, like a sticker or two. And even if you don't, just come and take pictures and share it.
Yep.
Because really expensive to get in. It's like $2 a person.
You can't beat that. You can't. And to get up to Geneva for $2 and park, have a place to park. Let's put it that way. You have a place to park.
I'll tell you, the parking is $10 a car.
Okay.
But what's funny is half the time for the $2, it's like a donation. Like, if you got it, give it. If you don't have it, I'd rather see you.
Yeah.
And thank God we're at the point where we can actually do that with confidence, freak out, and, count pennies, because we've gotten some great sponsors, some great backup. The one thing I want to brag about is our T-shirt design this year. I won't say what it reminiscens of, but I'll send you a picture of it and you can post it. But we've tried to push it all over Facebook. It's got like just cool cars on the front of it, and we're really proud of all the sponsors on the back, all the support. Chris Boucher and Jody Davis of Gearworthy Upcycle. She makes steampunk clothing and all sorts of designs. She also designs like the Spoonflower fabric designs. She's got several designs of her patents. Just two creative, great people that came together and made us an outstanding shirt this year. I got to commend the other part of the show, which is Zane Coffin, who's actually the leader of the Sunbugs Volkswagen Club, worldwide headquarters Volkswagen Club. That's an inside joke.
Okay.
A little worldwide, just he's got a couple of Sunbugs. So, and their crew and all the people in the community, Fresh Air Club. I can go on and on, for all the people who really have backed us up, supported us, and make it a fun, almost like a family reunion. But there again, I'm telling you that we want to make it bigger. I'm going to pull back the curtain, like the fourth wall. Every post, I'll put in the acronym BIG. And I think some people think that I'm just like bragging about the show, saying it's getting big. But BIG is actually the acronym for the name of the show.
Yeah. So,
yeah. Oh, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
What's funny is when people get it, they're like, that's why he keeps saying it. I was like, but it helps to learn other things. Like, it's getting bigger. It's getting a big deal. It's just
exactly.
I got the sticker I bought up there, the GOTL, the white Geneva on the lake.
Yeah.
Yes.
And people will always ask, hey, what's GOTL? And I'll say, oh, it's a great location. No, I won't tell them, and then they'll have to figure it out.
They have to look it up.
Look for it.
Yeah, they got to look. Yeah. But James, let me ask you, what's the furthest cars that entered the show that came from that you can recall?
I can actually prove this one. It's funny. One of our sponsors is Frank Callender. He owns Callender Insurance right in Madison. His son is from California. He actually drove out in his bus from California to visit his dad.
Wow. Holy cow, you're kidding. That is so hippie right there.
In that Westphalia, killed it. Last year was the furthest one. We've had a few from, Canada.
Yeah.
It's kind of a hot skip and a jump down from us. New York, Connecticut, Maine.
Wow.
In Miami.
Oh my!
Really?
Yeah, because you got So you've got like a Puerto Rican population, and they're here for the summer, family a whole bit, and I love your last one because they come in groups. Always cool, always have like the hottest cars, sound like sewing machines. Just it just purrs. Like I don't know what happens. Whoever the mechanic is, I need to be, in touch with them. It's always something slick, nice paint job, and they literally drive all summer long. No little import their car from Miami, from Texas, you name it, all around.
I think there's a Puerto Rican VW group out of Cleveland called something to do with lowriders or something. I seen them at some of the shows where most of their bugs are.
Gary VW Club and somebody else, which is terrible because you think I would know everybody, but I don't.
No, it's hard. That might be a good thing because there's so many people you can't remember. I mean, so that means, if you remembered everybody, it's like, oh, my show's not that big, but this show is big.
And it keeps growing. Like, I think the infection of it is that we not only have like swap meet things, but we've got a lot more things for the families. Like, there are people, selling crafts, toys, fabrics. We've got a lady who's actually bringing like, what are those infinity chains? I'm not a woman.
Yeah, I don't like, know what that is either.
No, permanent jewelry. So it's like a chain on your arm, blah, 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 blah. But since we're guys, if we really know about this, I think we'd have to talk to each other off camera. Like, come on. But he tells me what to do. I pay the money. It keeps moving. So.
James, and you just identified something that's cool about the show, the bug show up at Geneva on the Lake. When I would go to the other shows, and I took my wife a few times, and I had some of the other cars, whatever muscle cars I had. After about a half hour, she goes, "Hey, what do you do at these shows?" And we're sitting on the lawn chair, and I said,
"Yeah, this is it.
This is it. This is about it." You go to the Geneva on the show, and as we said, and we introduced it, no one's going to say, "What do you do here?"
No.
The thing is, hey, what do you want to do next?
Yes. What car do you want to see? Talk to the owner. Talk to, see your favorite car. Half the time they'll let you sit in it and see, well, do you like this?
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Like it's just no possessiveness about it. I mean, you'll see anything from, a thing to a new Myers-Manx. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just, there's all across the board. Porsches, you name it, Audis, BMWs, all the water cooled. I mean, it's the variety, I think, is the spice of the show and the spice of life. And you don't get bored, because if you're bored, you're not looking around. Or you weren't.
I'm gonna contact, and Greg knows, we had the two gentlemen on that started the mini Porsche club. Jerry and Mike, and they're redoing a 914. It's almost done. They sent pictures.
Ooh.
Yeah. But they both got, I think, 911s. They got Boxers. I'm going to see if Jerry or Mike wants to go up, and I'm going to tag along with them. We're going to bring those Porsches up there.
I don't know. We have Pete's. Pete's Custom Coach Building out in Newberry. He'll bring his 911. Mike and Marino will bring his 356. Either he'll have his tribute speedster, or he'll have his 356. And don't get me wrong about the letter BAC. It's just a gorgeous car.
Yeah.
Just a lot of local and cool support. Even if Mike just brings a single cab, we'd be happy.
And I seen there was a guy that came up a couple of times. They used to park it right where you can see the lake in the background. A vintage BMW motorcycle.
Yes.
It was a beautiful one, man. And there you go.
Yeah, dude, people have their spots they pick out. I mean, I'm sure you get people returning every year. And I noticed that it seems like Rather Lake, they've got their spots picked.
And what's funny is it's a first come, first serve, because we don't reserve spots. They come early if you want an early spot. If you're up against the lake, we ask that you're, careful about the tents and stuff like that, because any damage you cause, because the wind will kick up and yank that thing right out the stakes.
Yeah,
it's always a concern on any car show. I sit there, I see those tents going up, and I just cringe. I'm going, there's no way to stop it.
Yeah, I tell them, like, don't put those up. It's a waste of time, or move to the shade. There's
plenty of shade there too.
Tons of shade, and you can enjoy the park. And even further down, you could be on the lake and close to the pavilions, close to the bathrooms, close to the food, close to the vendors. everybody just seems to congregate at the beginning of the park, which is something, we're going to straighten out this year. We got parking attendants and, more help, more people supporting the flow. It's not our first rodeo, but, hopefully it won't be our last. And we really want to have a good time. We just want to enjoy the day. We want to provide, a safe and fun, safe and fun atmosphere. Because
it's August 31st. So,
First, the theme is hippies and hot cars. So we're going to have a prize for the hippiest person, 60s gear. The crowd's going to decide that.
John, that's your ticket.
James, let me tell you, James, 1969, I graduated from high school, and a buddy of mine said he had a Triumph TR6 sports car, or TR6, TR4, and he had jobs lined up in Los Angeles. Okay. And he said, hey, you want to go to LA? 2 weeks out of school. And you know what we looked like in 69, at least what I looked like. And what was going on? What was going on in 69? And I drove out to LA and spent months out there. But that era, that time for me anyway, you can't reproduce that. That was just an era in society. We were changing. It was just a great time. And that's what, going back, that's what I love about classic cars. Yeah, great. Yes. We talked about this a million times. That's the whole idea of it. You go back to when you remember when you were younger. And
that's a time you really, most of us enjoyed. Some of, there's other stories about that. But when you grew up, is when you remember it. John grew up in the 60s. I grew up in the 80s. James, when did you grow up? Or never?
80s never. And 90s. But, I'm 52.
Okay, so I'm 53. So
next week I'll wake up out of it. I don't know.
So James is just a year younger than me. Yeah. So we grew up in that time frame of when you grew up with the rabbits, the diesel rabbits, because remember in the 80s, the diesels that's going to be the new, that's the cars of today, because gas sucked. It was so expensive. So everybody's buying diesel cars because diesel was cheap then.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And, because I remember a lot of my buddies had rabbits, and they were great at doing donuts in the snow. You hit that e-brake and you're spinning those rabbits around. They're great. I do have to say one thing. This is a rare car. My buddy, his first car was an 86 Scirocco.
I know that car.
And it was the first half year of the 16 valve. So he got that. And he drove that for 20 years. And, I said, you got to hang on to this car. He sold it for like $1,500. Like it was 10 years ago. He just sold it. I'm like, why didn't you call me? Why didn't you call me? I would have bought that thing because it was so cool. And, had the Recaro seats in it, everything.
Was it silver or red?
It was silver. It was that silver goldish color. It had everything.
It turned goldish over time because of the paint tint.
Really? Because okay, because it was so cool. It was just, we loved that. He loved that car, and I don't know why he ever got rid of it. It had 350,000 miles on it, but it
was breaking it. He was breaking it.
Yeah. But and it's funny how we talk about generations, but the younger generations coming up on this as well. My son has a friend that just loves the rabbit trucks. I can't remember what they're called.
Caddies.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It's even funnier. Like, called a caddy.
Huh.
Yeah.
Because this guy bought two of them. My son just came over and put tires on it. He goes, look how small these things are. I'm 14. Like, that's normal. It's normal for us, But he bought two of them. I'm going to tell him to get his butt up there too, because he'll love that shit.
What now? It's a newer VW?
No, it's a truck. It's a Volkswagen Rabbit truck. It's called so it's got the Volkswagen Rabbit front end, but it's got a truck back end.
Wow.
My brother-in-law, he had a one done at not Euclid Foreign Motors, no, Streetsboro Foreign Auto. They built him a GTI truck for like $5,000 in like the early 90s. It was clean. It was perfect rebuilt engine, red interior, black exterior. It was the killer GTI truck. It even had the GTI badge, and it's not how it came. I think he drove the wheels off of that truck, and I think he gave it to his son.
And that's when you could actually afford to have them built back then. They weren't, I mean, it was expensive for the time, but it's not $100,000 now.
Brand new. He was really, comfortable with Streetsboro Foreign Auto. Matter of fact, his son is like the head mechanic there now, but that's how comfortable they are and super cool. But that car was amazing. We hauled so much stuff in that car: parts, Coke machines, jukeboxes, you name it.
But that's something. It's something that brings up memories, and that's why. And the one thing we have a lot of people that go down to Jim's Custom VW because we're right here. So, yeah. So he's right here. He's right from where I'm sitting right now. He's about 4 miles.
So Jim had his 35th year anniversary. Okay, and literally, Jim got us a hold of Empey, who's a big Volkswagen distributor. They partnered with us. They're one of our sponsors this year. We're going to have an electronic ignition for raffle. It's like a $300 prize. We got a hold of a vintage style, new copper Empey shifter. It'll be as part of the raffle to win. We're going to set up pictures for tomorrow morning.
Wow.
Check out our Instagram. We're doing a countdown. We've already done day 10. And if you hop on our page, you'll see there's a lady by the name of Lynn Anderson, who's actually a writer for Hot VWs. She is like not only one of the writers, but she's kind of like an actress and a fashion model. So she did a 60s revival fashion show in Detroit, the Woodward Woodward Dream Cruise.
Okay.
She has pictures of her Herbie. She has a Herbie. And she has pictures of her with the Janis Joplin car. Hold on. And the worst one is she's got pictures with a friend of hers car. He owns the original Monkees car.
No way.
Where to goodness. Larry Hagman and Barbara Eden signed it. All the Monkees signed it. And it was Larry Hagman's old GTO in the show. And then Hollywood turned it into the Monkees mobile.
Oh, my God.
Double history. It's a really cool thing. It really marks the 60s. She allowed us to use her pictures. She had to say a disclaimer that, these shows really aren't going to appear at our show, but, it still is just cool to note the 60s flavor and, the Monkees. I've got the Johnny Lightning version of it in my little toy collection, but the car's cool. Lynn was cool. She's dressed to the nines in her 60s gear. And it's all about, peace, love, happiness, and just enjoying yourself, having a fun time, just hang out with us.
And the way the world is right now, we all know of the chaos it's in. We could definitely go back to that peace and love. I know the Vietnam War was going on then, John. You could do, but there was a different feeling to that group brought to people.
It was, but the wife and I, I'll brag a little bit. This isn't what this show's about, but I've been married 54 years to the same woman. So
wow, God bless.
Yeah,
God bless.
But we after working around the house and doing landscape, we sit on the porch. We call it our porch party. We'll sit on the porch after we're all done summertime, crank open a beer, put on the radio, and just listen and just listen and talk, right? Relax. Yeah. But we were talking about when we met and all that, and we were both going to YSU, and I just got back from California, and in our Diamond area here is Mill Creek Park.
Yes.
Mill Creek Park is just a beautiful park. There was a place called the Silver Bridge down in Mill Creek Park, and that area is called the Flats.
Yes.
And every weekend in the 60s, that Flats you couldn't move was filled with, and I'll call them hippies. Maybe I was a hippie. And we were looking at some pictures that she took in her, that she snapped the picture and have to take the photo mat to get developed,
Oh, God, yeah. Wait a week.
That's how it was back then. And we're looking, and I got to give them to you, Greg. We'll put them on the show. Yeah. I bet you every other car was a Volkswagen, a Beetle, or a bus. And I'm looking, I'm thinking, and you guys, I'm not rubbing this in, but you guys missed it. It was the time to grow up. I'm telling you right now. But there was conflict. There was there was racial problems. There was all that. But
It's always that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was I mean, it was a time when we actually hitchhiked. Who the
Yeah,
hell
I remember
hitchhikes
that in
now?
Strangers. Yes.
James, you remember that in the 70s. I remember riding with my parents and going, there's hitchhikers every 2 feet.
Everywhere.
Back in the 70s.
Everywhere. In the 80s.
Yeah.
I'm from Cleveland, and believe me, you would pick up, people, does that look like cousin? Come on, hop in the car. They need to get to work. They need to get,
Yeah.
you got brother out. You got to help a brother out.
Yeah.
It's that brotherhood.
Yeah. And here's the other thing. Yeah. Here's the other thing, James. Volkswagen people, when you get into the muscle car, and again, and I hope nobody jumps on me. I love muscle cars. I love the big car shows. Guys, you were at Greg Ravenna show. Our show, 400 and some or 300 and some cars that we had. Yeah, I love the car shows. But in those muscle cars and some of those cars those guys build up, there's a lot of trailer queens. They don't really drive them. They show them, they trailer them, they're shiny. I found out Volkswagen guys, you drive your car.
Yes. I've never seen a trailer queened Volkswagen.
Did you ever see somebody trailer?
You have them, but they're pretty high end.
Yeah.
not many though. I mean, most of them are drive. You want to drive them, and even though when I had the early 60s and I had that bumper on the back, it said eventually 60 miles an hour or something like that. I forgot what it said. I took Route 534 up. I didn't get on the freeway. I took a slow route up.
And when I came up there that one time, that's me and my son. He drove one, I drove the other, but I was up back roads. I'm not taking those things on the highway. Number one, I did that once, and I blew up the engine in that 65 of mine. I took it on I was driving back. I won at a car show. I won a big trophy up here in Boardman, and I lived in Pittsburgh at the time. So I took it on the turnpike. Stupid move, because all of a sudden I hear knock, and I'm going, I didn't just do that. Blew it up. Too much. Starved it for oil. So
we love them. We love them. We love them. We love them. I mean, I want to make this the most pleasant experience. It should be a distraction. It should be a fun time, and it should be filled with intent that we're leaving something positive behind. And the big deal is, why not share what you love? And the community has always been kind. Even in goofy times, it's just an escape. Like, if you don't have a hobby that takes you out of this world, you're missing something. I don't care if Volkswagens, whatever. I have a coworker that saved all his money, and he bought the new Z06. Okay. He's going to be at the show, and he's got a buggy hiding in his garage also. And he's more mad that his buggy's not done.
Yeah.
But you have a new Z06. Come on, man. Get your mind right. Try the car.
I don't know. To me, I like the older stuff. You can keep the newer stuff for me. I don't care.
Freeze Classic, he's got a variety of things, but it's funny that a Corvette guy has a buggy in his garage, has the money to buy the Z06. It's a beautiful red with gold or copper rims, gold rims, and beautiful car. But he's mad that he doesn't have his buggy done in time to hang out with us. And I said, next year.
Yeah.
We'll do it again. We'll do it again.
Now, how many years have you done this show?
So under like Dubs and Geneva, it was about 3 to 4, and this one's going on the 4th year. We didn't really miss a year, so it's like 7 years altogether. Okay. Like 2017 we started.
Now, as organized as they have this show, you would think it had been going on for 50 years because everything's to a T.
But we've had a lot of cheat codes. We have teamed up with people who do run car shows throughout the year. Me and my team will go to every car show we can go to and try to talk to the organizers and see how it's run. Because if you don't invest in your craft, how are you ever going to make it better? And the whole goal is to do things smarter, not harder. And so that you enjoy it. Like, what did I enjoy about this show? What did I think was messed up about this? By actually being a participant, investing in the game. One of our bigger sponsors is Fat Man's Invasion. They're going back to the beach this year. They're actually going back to Menor Headlands where it all started.
Oh, wow.
Had to go back to the racetrack, but that's a whole nother subject. You didn't hear from me. They're a great group of people. Great time, and it's every type of car. And it's just fans hanging out on the beach. Matter of fact, their theme this year is Life is a Beach, so why not hang out with us? We got a great T-shirt honoring one of our Volkswagen friends that passed, Ronald Bako. And we're just trying to connect as a community. We've had a lot of deaths this year, as you will, as your community grows. But I think honoring these people, honoring what they brought to this, and remembering them, and actually trying to create better memories. Because in the end, I'll be able to take this car with me. I'll never be able to take these parts with me. I won't be able to take this money with me. But if I can say I had fun with you, and do you remember the time we went to that show? I think I've left you the best part.
Yep.
You know, I tell my kids all the time, and I tell my buddies that the two things that I hold dearly the most, two things, are family and friends.
Yes.
That's it. I mean, I get to have coworkers I work with. I got people I like, I talk to. Family and friends. Family is obvious. Friends, and I tell my son, who lives now in St. Augustine, he'll ask me, he'll call up, Dad, what'd you do today? And I say, I was, me and my buddy Tommy. He goes, how do you know this? I said, well, I've known him since second grade. He thinks that's the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And I'm hanging around with somebody that I knew since second grade.
Yeah.
Because today everybody goes, you leave the state, you leave, you go for work. But that's and that's what that show Geneva is. Because when I left there, on a number of times, I felt that I left friends, and I didn't know these people. I didn't know them before I got up there, but we talked, and I remember, and I left a bunch of friends, a bunch of VW friends.
Yes.
And
go ahead.
No, and I was going to say, and you know what part of it is? If you own a VW, I don't care what you own. It's the drive up that matters too. Because I tell you what, me and my son, he never drove my Bug. I let him drive Herbie up there. And I followed way behind in my stock 40 horse 61 Bug. So, and it was hot, but you know what? We were roasting by the time we got up there. It was hot. We roasted all the way back. He got 2 miles from my house and broke down. Broke the dang accelerator cable.
What's that happened?
Yeah, which I'm like, well, at least it happened close to home. But, I had to turn the idle all the way up and coast home to, I let him take. But you know what? We were so tired and cranky and miserable at the end. It's like, oh, man, we still talk about it. Yeah, all the time. We still talk about that.
Remember that time we did that?
That's the point. You spend the time running. This show is what it's about. You go up there with family and friends, and I have a challenge. Down here in the Mahoning Valley, I never see a kit car. Never see any nice ones. A Bradley GT, anything like that. I want to see one. And I don't think I saw one up there at your show.
Hold on. Did you come last year?
No, I did not. I was out heading hips replacements.
I have personal knowledge of a killer Invader GT. And he showed up with it. It was his surprise to bring it to the show. Yeah. And matter of fact, he's like a close friend. He's helps us with the show. I'm going to ask him to bring his car, but you will see a kit car. You will see
good.
Killer example.
Because I'm going to tell you, Rick and I will be up there shooting an episode of Street Scene up there. John, we want you up there because,
I'll be,
because
I mean,
that's and we want to shoot. That's an interview I want, and I'm going to tell you that
I can because get it for you.
I never see any nice. I see a lot of Bradley GTs on Marketplace that are just trash. It's like it would take too much.
Sick. No, this one's so sick. Like my head is hurting talking about it. Like I have a surprise for him, and I won't even tell him what the surprise is because he's a really good friend of mine, and he brought that car as a surprise for us because he knew we'd be drooling. And my business partner,
James, here's what you want to do. When Greg and Rick are interviewing him for the show, give them the surprise on air.
Hold on, now I'm waiting for it. It should be done this week, so I will gladly bring it to. And then I got somebody cover, my fun. But you know what? If I could pull it off, I will.
That's easy for us. You just tell her if we're up there, you tell us when you're ready, and we'll dart over there and interview this guy, and we'll do it on camera, and then we'll release the show. Yeah, and it'll take me a couple weeks.
The coolest. No, him and his family are the coolest. They just are the coolest. Like we appreciate him, and he literally did it as a surprise for us. Like when he pulled in, we're like, no way.
Well, here's what's cool about the VW. So you have the traditional VW Bug,
Mhm.
Then you take those bugs and you can make them a kit car.
Mhm.
And the kit goes everywhere from the older MG styles, you know,
Yeah.
the MGs and the kit you're
These-
talking about. Then you
Yeah.
do the Bajas,
Yes.
Love
you know.
those.
Then you do the minks, you could
Yeah.
change it to that. Mick.
Yes.
And then you can do the Volks rod, which is like a rat rod,
I love
all
those.
all from that VW bug.
All
Yeah.
I
from
just
that-
need 6 of them, all from that VW bug.
Or you can, what I've seen is they take about like a foot out of the beam and shorten it and make a little mini bug out of it. Have you seen those?
yes.
Those are awesome. Who thought of doing that? You know, I mean, that's the whole structure of the car. But
Then you got the sand rails, right? Then you got I call them sand rails, whatever they are.
Yeah. No, they are. They're
I call them pipe buggies, but you know,
Yeah.
all day
Yeah.
long.
Yeah, I like pipe buggies. I love,
yeah,
I
you
love
know,
that.
I had a friend in college, and she had her and her best friend had she had a 64, and it was I called it a bog bug because we took it out, and I lived in Arizona at the time, so we went out desert hopping with that thing, and it was that's basically, I loved bugs before.
Mhm.
That one and the one I've got now got me hooked. I mean, that was so fun to drive, and she threw me the keys, and it was so fun to drive in the sand, you know, all the desert, the dirt and everything, and the washes that were not running, you know, it's just awesome.
So what other automobile model I just identified what you can do from a VW bug. What other model can you do that different type of style from everything from a kid? I mean, what are there, Greg?
Now, if you're a roadkill fan, which I'm a huge roadkill fan, what they did with the Corvette, the C4,
Or the
I love that. Sorry, they made it. If you've seen roadkill, you know what we're talking about. You know.
Okay, I'll take that back then. But anyway, but the VW, I mean, and what's cool about it is no matter what style you like, you bring it to the show.
Yes.
Everybody goes over and talks and likes it.
You're not going to get
Everybody likes
hate.
it.
That's the
No.
point. If you go to a bug show, you're not going to get any hate for what you've done to your car because everything goes. Do you have do you have the limbo this year?
No, we don't have limbo here, only because we've been trying to focus on more design and set and just how the thing flows.
Yeah.
And last year it was like a real struggle to get participants because nobody wanted to really leave their car and drive around.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I was ready to leave then, so
we're just getting older. It's like it's goofy, but we're trying to do more hangouts. Events, we're definitely going to have more events. We're going to have definitely more things next year. But this year was really about our sponsors. And there's something I really want to plug. There's a person in Vegas. He has a podcast called Let's Talk Dubs. That guy, Bill, and we call him Bill T, but it's really Bill. His last name is Greek. It's like Tizagurnus or whatever. Horrible spelling, horrible pronunciation for me. But Bill T is a good friend of mine. He's out of Vegas. I was on his podcast maybe 2 years ago. But if you want to know the history of Volkswagen and the shops and the people and the behind the scenes and how MP came about and all these other things, a historian. As a matter of fact, he's having a car built in England and having it shipped over from a friend.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, so he's a little broke. He's struggling, you know. He has a tile company. But just the history of Volkswagens and maintaining that history because he's an enthusiast. He's been a big push for us, LA Products, MP, Batman's Invasion, Jim's Custom VW, definitely. And anybody on the strip, Frank's Toy Box, you know, A&A Rentals, you name it, they've helped us out and they've helped us to grow bigger.
Then let me tell you. Go ahead.
Before we get into and I love talking about the show, but let me just give you a brief history. When I first got into Volkswagen, I mean, I drove Volkswagens in the 60s and all that, but it was a Volkswagen. It was my car, right? At that time. Yeah, it was a car. That was it. Yeah, that's it. But then I said, you know, I'm going to have to find one of these old bugs and all that. And I started looking in the guy, I'd see in the description, they'd say strong pans and heater channels. And I'm thinking, what the heck are they talking about? Pans and heater channels. You know, I had no idea.
It's not rocker panels.
Yeah, heater channel. What is it? And I emailed the one guy and said, I don't care about the heater channels. I'm only going to drive it in the summertime.
Oh God.
But I didn't know.
Bad move there, man.
Yeah, I'm telling you the truth. And the pans are fine. I'll just put some license plates down there, or something. I don't know.
All day long.
Yeah, all day. But here's what's cool about the VWs. If you're a fairly good mechanic guy, you can learn how to work on VWs. Yeah. I mean, you can, what is it? 4 or 5 bolts after you disconnect some cables and hoses, you can pull that engine.
The whole thing.
And the engine, I've worked on an engine on a bench.
Yeah.
So
you can lift that out yourself. I've done it. I've lifted it.
And get a hernia, but that's a whole nother stuff.
That's okay. You can have
it's all right.
Yeah.
We don't need it.
But I just want to point out that people, if you're not into cars, if you want to do a father and son, father and daughter project, and you're thinking, you watch Barrett Jackson, you ain't got $100,000, you ain't got all this money, go to the show, Geneva on the Lake. Yes. Check out the VWs, talk to these people, and man, you're going to walk away and you're going to be looking for a VW to work on.
They're easy.
You're going to enjoy it.
That's what I learned to do welding. Yeah. That's what I learned to do body work was my 65. Yeah. And I learned that I didn't have the equipment. I didn't even have a garage. I worked outside on the thing. But that's when I learned that you don't have to lift the body off to put the heat channels and pans in. You don't have to do it. I've done it twice now. So, but we all have a story about a bug. I've told mine 100 times with my 61. It was an omen for it to come back to me 4 times before I bought it.
Like that.
So, I don't know if you heard that one, but my car, was around when I was a child, running around New Wilmington, PA. And that car was there. And it came, and I finally bought it from a guy in Girard that owned it. And I lived in North Lima. It just kept coming back and back and back. It was like, you think the cars pick you to be their caretaker? Damn right, because I have attested to that. That car, you think, Herbie the love bug, it's just, no, you know what? This car picked me when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm. And Greg, you know what you got to worry about is one day when you walk out and the car's in the driveway and you didn't put it there.
Well, let me tell you something that's creepy. I know the thing's possessed because I was in the garage one day. I walked out, locked the door, forgot something, came back in. The headlights are on that car.
There you go.
The switch was pulled. I didn't do it.
Yeah.
I wasn't even near the damn car.
So you would know.
Yeah, it's creepy. So
James, let me James, you mentioned your sponsors, which are extremely important. And when I mentioned that, if you want to get into cars, get into the VW because you'll learn to work on them. Now, your sponsors, you can get what you need for a VW.
Oh my God!
Parts, panels.
Oh my God, yes.
Right? You can build one with everything they sell.
Anything. Yep. And if they ain't got it, they know somebody who has a NOS. There's a guy in Michigan. He's become one of our sponsors. I bought a lot of things from him. It's called Barnum's Bug Barn, and it's a good 4 hours from here. But he actually has a Volkswagen junkyard. I've bought so many buggies and parts from this man.
I have heard of that place, and I've always wanted to go there.
Oh no, it is magical. It messes you up. And he's such a down to earth, super cool. On a Saturday, he's open from less 2 to 8. You know what I'm saying? Because he has the yard to run in the morning. Him and his wife. They have a garage filled with Volkswagens and parts.
Wow.
It's like heaven.
Oh my God.
But I'm talking about the availability of parts, NOS parts, those hard to find items. There's a lot of great reproductions out. There's a lot of great, companies out, but I like to buy local. I like to buy from, LA Products in Akron. I like to buy from Jim's Custom VWs, in Columbiana. I like to buy from the people who are here, and they are actually, distributors of MP products, and quality has gone way up in my opinion and been more consistent than they've ever been.
I can say to attest to that from 2 restorations decades apart.
And I'll tell you, that LA Products in Akron, one of the shows they gave away the coolest license plate frames.
Yes.
Because I got like 2 of them in the back garage, and one was bright orange, one was blue, and they're just badass looking license, and they gave them away.
James, time of the show, where it's at, let me know right now.
So time of the show is August 31st, Saturday, Labor Day weekend.
For John Lesaganich, my name's Greg Roten. Rick's off doing something else, and we will see you
See you
up the road.
Up the road. All right.